It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll pull outside for a while and just smile. Just taking some clean, fresh air for
Smooches, everybody. It's a hot and muggy day, but we're expecting more rain, which is really good for my garden. So I'm excited about that. And hopefully, I get done with this before too much noise goes on because we're getting some thunder today. Um, okay, so today's subject done to talk about was being a concert goer back in the days. And automatically, when I first wrote that, it was thinking about the classic rock concerts that I had gone to, Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and all them. But the more I thought about what I was going to say and let my mind just drift in that, um, you know, I had to go way back when. My mom and her two sisters and my grandmother all loved country and western music. And from the time I was probably around 9 or so, um, and maybe a little bit after that, um, they all loved country and western music. My two aunts and sometimes my grandmother worked at this one place called the Brand X, which was a country and western club, bar, hotel, whatever it was. Um, and it had bungalows in the back, and it had a building out front that had apartments because they would hold jamborees. I think in upstate New York, that was probably one of the few places around that you could actually go to like a country and western concert because they'd have multiple artists there. And of course, at the time, I didn't know any of them, and country and western was not my thing. Um, but um, they'd house the musicians and stuff, so put them in hotels there. And actually, my aunt, my cousin lived in a bungalow in the back, so they housed the waitresses and stuff uh, there. Anyways, it wasn't till later on that I was at my aunt's house, Aunt Joan, and she had a lot of autographs, signed autographs by some of these musicians that had played at this place. And you're talking Conway Twitty and see, I don't know the musicians all that well, but when I hear their names, I think maybe George Strait. I don't know if he goes back far enough. Anyways, when I looked at some of these photos as an older person, I recognized that these were pretty big names for that period of time at the beginning of their careers and such when they were actually, because I know that we had some of their albums and stuff, some of these musicians. So I would have to say that that had to fit into the whole concert going thing, and I really did like it. I mean, it brought back some good memories as I got older, thinking about they used to let us drink little Shirley Temples and dance, dance, dance. I love dancing. I don't care what kind of music it is. I'll figure it out, some kind of dance to do to it. So. Um, and my mom, I mean, we just grew up in a time where everybody danced. There was always music, jukeboxes, whatever, and you just danced and enjoyed the music because that was, we didn't have the social networking thing. I mean, you just really made your own fun kind of thing. Um, anyways, one of my favorite memories of that place is the bathroom was not very big at all. But you'd go in there, and especially being a little girl, I mean, short, that bathroom would get packed, filled with women with the big poofy hairdos and everything. Everybody smoked. I mean, the whole place was filled. I'm surprised I don't have cancer these days because it's like smoking wasn't prohibited anywhere. You could smoke wherever you wanted in the bathroom. They're all sitting there fixing their hair and doing their makeup and smoking their cigarettes and stuff. And it just, for some reason, that really brings back a fond memory. Um, anyways, I'd have to say that was amongst the first concerts that I went to. Um, and to go along with that is becoming like 12, 13. Back in those times, there were constant dances going on. Churches would have dances, schools would have dances, and it would just be in the basement. Yeah, you'd probably have something to drink. They'd have something there for you to be able to drink as like a refreshment sort of thing. I don't remember muffins or anything, but um, there was always live bands, local kids joining bands, playing instruments. They always seemed to play popular songs, but even uh, the beginning of the rock, classic songs from Humble Pie and Led Zeppelin and, you know, Jimi Hendrix type songs. Yeah, you know, we didn't judge that harshly because, they were playing live music and everything, whether they sounded like the album or not. But if I think about it now, I know a friend of my brother's, Chip Copeland, was in a band, and I remember going and seeing them, and the music sounded pretty good. We all got up and danced. Of course, the boys, a good amount of them would just sit along the sidelines and kind of just watch the girls, and we didn't have any problems with us girls getting out there and just dancing. But the place was packed, and if they charged anything, it was only like $1 or $2, that we could all afford to go to. And you walked to it, and you walked home. It might have been a little distance to go to, but there were always dances. I mean, I just have such fond memories of the dances, being able to have that kind of entertainment, the live music. Okay, so the big concerts, the first one I ever went to, I was a big fan. I belonged to the fan club and everything when I was 14, something like that, a Three Dog Night. I loved their harmonizing. Was in love with Chuck Negron and one of the lead singers, his mustache. Maybe that's somewhere my fondness of older men came from, I don't know. But anyways, so I was down in Florida visiting, and my aunt and her boyfriend, Rich, at the time, got me a ticket to go see Three Dog Night. I was thrilled to death, and with them was T-Rex, and T-Rex was to go first, and it was in this airfield hangar, airplane hangar, and I was there by myself, but I've never been uncomfortable doing things by myself. I mean, yeah, to a certain degree, but it didn't stop me. And right away, where I decided to go and sit, which was kind of close to the stage, but off to the side a little bit, I met this husband and wife that had their teenage son that was about the same age as me, and he was a cutie. He had blonde hair, straight blonde hair, definitely Florida type kid, and we just seemed to click and kept me company and stuff like this. So, anyways, T-Rex gets on there, and he started off, and there was just really bad feedback going on. Now, I mean, later on in life, found out that he threw a lot of tizzy fits and stuff like that. I guess as a musician, he was kind of tough to deal with sometimes, but I mean, he didn't play but a few notes of that feedback coming back, and he just kind of used a nasty word and slung his hand down and walked off the stage, and that was it for the concert. I did get to meet members of the Three Dog Night, which thrilled me to no end. But then I didn't know what to do because the concert ended. My aunt had specifically told me to stay there until the concert was over. They'd be there to pick me up. But, since it was like, probably 2 hours before, she would have been there, this kid, I always thought, I wonder if that was like Tom Petty or something, because he kind of had that thing about him that always reminded me of like that could have been Tom Petty. Anyways, I wish it was. They ended up giving me a ride home, which was funny. I knew the town that she lived in, Davie, but I didn't know the street address. And this poor family decided, which was nowhere near where they lived from what I gathered, but they got me. We drove up and down streets until I said, oh, that's it, and then they let me off. I got in a little bit of trouble because I didn't stay there, but that would have been scary to stay there by myself at that age and everybody go home. So anyways, let's say I did kind of try to go over, and I didn't really go to another concert. I went to clubs, and there were bands that played in New York City that would go to the clubs that we went to, and would would play. My mom would let me go out at a young age because I love to dance. And we saw some, like Twisted Sister at one of these, and Wayne County, which was like a drag queen performer that sang silly songs like Toilet Love, Come On and Flush Me, whatever. And they were fun, and we got to dance. I guess like the first, oh no, no, when I was um, with some of my friends, we drove down to New York City and saw an oldie show, which included Tommy James and the Shondells, which I love their music, and so that was. I mean, it was a concert and it was fun, and I was with my friends, and we all got lost driving this. The kid that was driving this car ended up kind of in a bad neighborhood, and people knew we shouldn't have been there. Come running out of the bar after with sticks chasing us in our car down the road. It was scary, but at the same time we had a lot of fun with it, because after the concert we just stayed near Madison Square Gardens and just watched people for probably an hour before we actually started to head back home. Okay, so then I had gone into the Army, and that's when I saw the majority of my concerts that I went to, because I lived in bigger areas or had people around me that went to concerts and was able to get rides to them and stuff. I was stationed in San Francisco, and then got to see a lot of concerts, and then I was stationed overseas and got to attend several concerts in Germany and such. So the first concert I went to was in New Jersey at Fort Dix. Me and my boyfriend Jack went to see the Steve Miller Band, and I have to say, we dropped acid beforehand. Yes, I come from that period of time. I don't do stuff like that anymore, but we did. And for whatever, Steve Miller, he kept doing this weird thing with his hands, and I was so stoned. It's like I had to tell Jack, I have to leave. I can't take this, because his arms were just going like wheels, and it was making me nuts. I loved Steve Miller's music, but I did not. I don't know how I would have acted or felt if I hadn't done some drugs, but don't ever go see him when you're on acid. Okay, it's just too weird. So I didn't stay for that whole concert, but from what I got at the very beginning, I think I enjoyed it. But Jack had a van. We went and hung out and talked and stuff, so it was all cool. So then out in California, we went to a lot of concerts in Oakland and the south part of San Francisco. I included the Rolling Stones, and it was funny because I had stepped on a needle, had surgery in my foot, so I was on crutches when I went to see them. And with that concert also was Eddie Money. Eddie Money, yeah. Well, I can't remember who else, but it was a concert that had several people. So my roommate and we were down on the floor, but with my foot, it was just, I couldn't stand there, because once the concert started, everybody got up. So before the Rolling Stones took the stage, we actually went up higher. We could still see the stage pretty good, but we sat up higher because I couldn't take it. And so we didn't realize it at the time, but it was Mick Jagger's birthday. Now, from what I gathered, they never did encores. Okay, so fine. So we think the concert, and I'm telling you, they kicked it. And it was back in 78. So it was, they were still pretty young, and they really played all the songs I loved. I loved Monkey Man. They played that. And wait, I got to think about that. Did they play Monkey Man? Okay, I can't remember if they did play that, but that's one of my favorite Rolling Stone songs. So we're thinking the concert ended, and we're walking down. Now we were stoned, because we did get high a lot at concerts and stuff. And we're making our way down, and all of a sudden we're hearing pop, pop, pop. We're thinking someone's got a gun in the audience or something like that. Something's happening, and we're like scared to death, and we're trying to get back out there, see what's going on. And then we hear them start back up. And because it was his birthday, they decided to do encore performances and stuff. It was wild. And so the concert continued on, and we were really happy. Okay, so also, around that same time because I was still on crutches, and then my boyfriend got in a car accident, so he was all bandaged on his head and stuff. It was we were quite interesting looking. We went to see Bob Seger, and he surprised me how much I enjoyed his concert. I loved his voice, and it just seemed like every song was just really enjoyable, and I loved it. Um, and okay, for the most part, any concert I ever went to, there was no fighting, nothing. I know that a lot of people on these review channels talk about concerts and whether how could that many people get together and not fight, because we were used to hearing music and dancing and having a good time, you know what I mean? We didn't fight. But now I had gone to see Rod Stewart, and I wanted to sit closer than where our seats were, so down off to the left of the stage was a stair platform with a railing and stuff, and there was nobody there, so I decided, Kathy and her boyfriend had come, and she was my roommate. They sat in the seats, and I went down there and sat on the railing because I was like eye to eye where Rod Stewart was. It was awesome. So that's where uh, and that concert was so much fun. I loved it. He got soccer balls out there and kicking them out to the audience and stuff because he's a big soccer fan. And so anyways, at the end of that concert, though, I'm waiting for Kathy and her boyfriend to come down to join them. They were going to come down and meet me on that platform or nearby there. You know how they have the little tunnels from inside the stadium, because it was an indoor stadium, out to the outer perimeter where you had your food courts and things like that. So I was in that area, and that was a very congested area, and people were pushing and bumping into me, and I was just like getting so frustrated, and I ended up saying to myself, next person that friggin' elbows me or pushes me, I'm just gonna hit them back, and I didn't look first to see who it was or anything. Someone bumped into me hard, and I turned around and just went to punch them, and I think I landed not a really good punch, but I landed one, and it turned out to be an Amazon woman. And I proceeded to get my ass kicked, and thank God some people came and kind of broke it up, and you know, uh, Kathy and them had seen a fight and went a different way, didn't realize it was me. And then I saw them, and I just scooted as quick as I can. I'm not a coward, but I'm not stupid either. Um, yeah, that was not a good way to end my concert, and it was my fault. She was probably pushed by somebody else that ended up pushing into me, and I just didn't think about it. So I can guarantee you I never did that again. Okay, so um, and I'll say AC/DC. My son, I named Malcolm because AC/DC. Unfortunately, though, when I was younger, we had the album covers to go according, but AC/DC wasn't on any TV show or anything like that. You just saw them in concert. So I know on the album covers, they had two people playing guitars, and for some reason I looked at Angus thinking, oh, that's got to be Malcolm. The name just seemed to fit him. And so when I had my son, I named him Malcolm, and then later realized that Malcolm was actually Angus's brother playing the rhythm guitar and so forth. But it's okay. I like both of the names. I just love the name Malcolm anyways, but I would have liked Angus too. So I went to see them 3 times because I just thought Angus was just so much fun to watch play guitar. I mean, he just jammed, and the whole band. I mean, that concert, you jammed from the beginning to the end. It was always powerful. It was always just energizing, and just, I just loved it. I mean, I just, to this day, I'm a big one for once you reach a certain age, I just don't want to see you out there trying to perform like you were still in your 20s kind of thing. So I do keep myself from watching, uh, Angus out there. How old is he now? I mean, I'm 60s. So he's got to be that age, 70s or whatever. but still trying to do it in the little boy suit, and it just doesn't do it for me. And I don't want to take away from the great memories that I have. So I love them. Very sad when I heard that Malcolm had passed, but okay. So let's see. Um, yeah, the one of the more interesting concerts, just the idea of it, was when I was in Germany. Um, oh, I gotta talk about Led Zeppelin. Okay, let's do the Led Zeppelin first. Um, when I was in California when I was younger, it was before I was in the army. Um, you already know I was a runaway and stuff, and I lived with these two girls before I had gone to Los Angeles, and it was down near Fort Pendleton, and we had an apartment. The one girl was older, and she had kids, blah, 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 blah. So anyways, the owner, there was a lot of military guys around. If any of them came to him and said, hey, do you know anybody that is single that I might be able to ask out, or blah, 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 she would direct him to our apartment. So one day I happened to answer the door, and this guy didn't care what he looked like, what he was, anything. The first thing out of his mouth when I answered, would you like to go to see Led Zeppelin? I was like, yeah, without, so unfortunately uh, he was just very strange, and there were parts of the concert that I was trying to kind of separate myself, get lost from him, because it was just a weird situation. But he was good at tailing, because I didn't care how I got home. And it took a long time for him to stop coming around, because he wasn't getting the hint. So it was a price to be paid, but it was Led Zeppelin, and it was their promotional tour for Physical Graffiti, which I love, Kashmir, and of course they played Stairway to Heaven and all that. But it was, I have to say, Robert Plant was someone I couldn't take my eyes off. Okay, well, uh, yeah, there were parts with Jimmy Page playing guitar, and at one point there was like a laser that like hit right where he was playing guitar, like his fingers. It was just a great concert, and if it wasn't for this guy being with this guy, but I'm grateful because I got to go see that. So just a price to be paid. So okay, I was going to go back to what was I talking about? Oh, um, that brought up Led Zeppelin. When I was in Germany, there was a place called Zeppelin Field, and I guess that's where Hitler used to have speeches to all his troops. And but now at that point, they would have outdoor concerts, and so there I got to see AC/DC again, and it was with Led Zeppelin and Cheap Trick, and um, I can't remember what other bands it was those, but it was a big outdoor concert, and I was with a good amount of friends, and it was just a real, I mean, it was like all day, of sitting on a nice day out in this big field. And it was just, you couldn't help but think of the contrast between Hitler being there and all that, and, a rock concert. Um, I love that. I think that probably did it for me as far as ever wanting to go to another indoor concert, because I like the freedom and the fresh air, and it's just a different thing for me altogether, to experience. And it is pretty cool to have all those people. I mean, it was no Woodstock, but there were thousands and thousands of people there, and we weren't that far away, where we got a good view of the stage, and um, peaceful, and people, just really enjoying the music. And of course, the Who were, Pete Townsend was wild. I really enjoyed them, but they didn't compare to my AC/DC, but I still enjoyed them. Okay, so, the concert that I went to before then, actually, that I'll talk about. Okay, so, yeah, I'm thinking that most of my concerts were in the military, but at one point before I went into the military, I was in Boston, near my aunt lived. My Aunt Joan lived near there, and I was just kind of doing whatever till I went in the military. I think But in that, I actually got a job selling pretzels downtown Boston. And through doing that, I met this young guy and stuff, and we got along pretty good. And then he asked me if I wanted to go to see Aerosmith, and I didn't know who they were at the time. But he came and got me, and he had a car. And I'm thinking, well, I don't remember him having a car because he sold pretzels too. It's like we didn't make that much money. It was just a thing. And Aerosmith kicked ass. Steven Tyler was just mesmerizing. I fell in love with his lips. He just it was definitely one of the best concerts for a band that I had no clue about before then. I mean, it was back when I think they were first promoting Dream On, and the poor guy that I went with, he saw me home safely and then got arrested later that night for stealing that car we were in, which I'm really glad I wasn't in at the time. And it was a shame because he was a real sweetheart. Okay, let's see along this line here. Okay, another concert we went to when we were in Germany, which, man, was such a treat. We actually, I think it wasn't actually in Germany. It might have been. I can't remember where we were, whether it was Germany or one of the surrounding countries. It had to have been in Germany versus like Holland or something. Um, Anyways, it was a concert with Elton John, and it was just Elton John and Ray Cooper, his percussionist. It was in a smaller um, concert hall, like the size of a concert hall that you go to for like a orchestra performance, something very intimate. And Elton John didn't come out with any kind of glitzy outfit. I think he had like a soccer kind of t-shirt on and some sweatpants or something. He wasn't dressed up, and Ray Cooper was more dressed up than he was. But it was just the two of them, and my God, you didn't need the rest of the band. They were so good. They played everything, and I guess the biggest wow I got that night was that they performed "Funeral for a Friend" as if the whole band was there, and it was just they didn't miss a beat. It was just I loved Elton John. I had every album that he put out, and I was not disappointed. Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to go, just the two of them. I thought maybe they wouldn't play the typical songs that we were used to listening to, but they did. Of course, it was. Boy, there's a spider web that's flying around here. Okay, anyways, um, they performed everything I could have hoped for, and I did not miss the band being there at all. It was that great. He didn't need the show because it was strictly the talent of these two men, and wow, what an opportunity to see them in that way. I did, as I got older, went to see Heart. I loved Heart too. I will say though, when I went to see them, that was like in '86, so they were a little past the prime of Barracuda. You know what I mean? And I think seeing them then would have been a more energized performance. I mean, they were really good and they played a lot of songs, and um, it was an outdoor event. I went with my sister and brother-in-law, and I really liked it. But I think I probably would have enjoyed them even more when they were a little younger. Because one thing I always heard about them is that they um, dance the music. Is that a right part? Like the way they perform, they really, um, oh, how do I explain that? Like, uh, and as she sang, would have really emphasized with her body the beats and the strums and of the instruments and stuff. Um, More so in a rhythmic way than maybe a lot of men that can't dance or whatever. hope that makes sense. That's why I heard from other people that had gone and seen them when they were younger that they really like it was a dance. Um, and it wasn't so much that by the time I went to see them, they were a little older, probably about done with it. Um, done with when I say that, done with playing the same songs repetitively. But anyways, it was still a really good concert. When I was up in Alaska, I got to see other types of musicians that the lady I worked for actually brought me to. Ray Charles, he was wild. I mean, he was really great. Um, but when he sat on his uh, piano stool, he was so into playing that piano that, like, he was wild. His body was really, and I was so afraid he was going to fall off his stool. That's how wild this man was when he was playing the piano. So, um, so other than the nervousness of please don't let anything happen to this man because he was older, but he gave it his all. And I appreciate that. And then I also went to see Bobby McPherson, who did, which wasn't a song that I really liked, Don't Worry, Be Happy. But put that aside, this man could do things, tones with his mouth that was amazing. He did like the music from The Wizard of Oz in like 7 minutes. Like I don't even know how to explain it, but he could just make sounds and tones, and it was like there was a band with him or something. It was just him. It was very entertaining. I wasn't thrilled about going, but he was so entertaining. I enjoyed it a lot. And then probably the last concert that I went to, it was the Allman Brothers, but of course Dwayne Allman wasn't with him by that time because he had already passed. And I was just going with a friend of mine, that Jack, the one that I went to see Steve Miller with up in New Jersey. We were stationed together, and then I went to visit him once, and we went to the Allman Brothers show. It was an inside arena, and I hadn't really listened to the Allman Brothers music all that much, but I'll tell you what, he impressed me. It was so good. The Whipping Post is the song that I came to really appreciate and love. And yeah, oh, my friend Jack, he was a pretty cool guy, you know. Oh, I think he was high. I wasn't high by that time. I was a single mother. I was just visiting him and stuff. Like, yeah, my first uh, little vacation on my own, and that I did this with him. And we got all the way up front, and we were like, uh, Greg Allman was at his keyboards, the center stage, and we were at the guardrail, like right in front of him. It was a really good spot. And I don't know why, but Jack, he's playing keyboards, and he was great. The music was great. And all of a sudden, Jack kind of climbed up on that railing and was like eye with him almost, and yelled out, "You can't play guitar with shit." And I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? A, he's not playing guitar right now, so it's kind of stupid that you would say that, but it's a great concert. What drugs are you taking? You know what I mean? So that was kind of a weird thing, and I was shocked by why Jack would do that. But you know, it is what it is. And okay, so that's it for my experiences. I'm looking over this list of, you know, concerts, but it was, you know, I wish more young people had the opportunity to experience some of that because it was just fun. And I think everybody should dance because it gets your energy going and whatever. Okay, I don't know how much time's gone by. Whoop, 30 minutes. So let's pick our topic for next time. We got our handy dandy little box. Okay, let's see what we're going to talk about next time. And I'm sorry that I just did off the cuff because that's what I do. Okay, just talking about a good many places that I lived at. a lot of states, many of the states. So we'll talk about the different states and the experiences that I had in moving and, you know, such. Okay, so that's for next week. And I'm going to do my 3 cards. Try and do it more quickly so that, I think the shorter videos are nicer for people that have things to do in their day. Oh, okay, I might not be able to shuffle these. Hey, May, you better get back in this fence. Where's that baby? The dogs are out of the fence. Okay, I'm just going to focus on this minute because my hands are hurting me. 3 cards. Do the past, present, and future again. To give us something to think about, to help us in our decision makings and experiences throughout the week. So I really hope that doing these 3 cards helps people in their day-to-day lives of thinking about things that they can do. Okay, so our first position, Queen of Swords. So this is in our past position. Now the Queen of Swords, she's a little tough and she can be a little, I won't say crude. And I won't say judgmental, but those kind of things. Very sharp, like bitter almost sometimes she can be. It's really a fine line, and she's got to really watch what comes out of her mouth when she's around other people because she can tend to be bitter. The Queen of Swords, she should be someone that can speak to the people around them with encouraging words to help lift them up, nurture them by way of word, like you can do this, or I believe in you, or let's get ourselves going, And sometimes, a person does have to be a little bit tougher with the way they speak for the benefit of the other person. Like, you're wasting a lot of time. You're not thinking about your future. It's time for you to pull up your big girl panties and let's get moving. So those kind of words, yes, they're tough to take, but they're needed sometimes. So she really walks that fine line of making sure what she says, what comes out of her mouth, is something that's going to help another person, raise them up, get them going, encourage them in whatever ways needed. Sometimes, I did a reading for a guy once and everything about it said, get up and kick this boy in his ass. Excuse me for saying that, and I ended up saying that to him and he just laughed because he said, his mother and people around him were all saying that you need your ass, you need to get a kick in the ass, get yourself going. So anyways, sometimes that's needed. So her being in the past position is, maybe you did have somebody around you that was brutally honest and, you were too young to appreciate that. We've all been there at that time, those times. And maybe you need to think about those words and what they were saying and the truthfulness, see it from a different perspective of someone that maybe is a little bit more mature now that can accept what was being said. So let's see what the other cards are to go back to her a little bit more. So in the current position, that's why. Oh, yeah, another one. Maybe there's people. Okay, 7 of Cups. Okay, definitely. The question is, are you dreaming too much? There comes a point, yes, you have to have dreams. You have to have a vision of what direction you want to go into. It's always a good place to start. And then you take those dreams of your heart and you bring them out through your mind and you put them into action, But you can't sit there and dream forever. You have to, you have to get going. You have to give birth to that and be moving. So, when I see this card along with the Queen then, and 7s are all about finding the answers to things, if there's a disruption or something not going right in your life, you have to look at it and then say, okay, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I didn't do? What is it that I'm not seeing? You know, finding those solutions. So this card is all about questioning. You know, it's I almost wanted to say a balance, but it's actually an imbalance of, you have to ask yourself, am I dreaming too much, or am I not dreaming enough? Do I not have a vision? Am I just sitting there and watching TV and, you know, keeping everything blocked out so I don't have to think about what is my next step? Okay, so that's the current position. And for the future, now we've had this card before, the Hermit. The Hermit is the, you know, for the future is the person that comes to understand that for you to get answers and to really see the truth about yourself, you have to go within. You have to spend that time alone to get some wisdom, to see the light, to, you know, if you don't know what to do. We've already had a video about meditation and prayer. Well, it's, you know, that time of being silent. You're old enough to know that, you know, if you spend a little time on yourself in a positive way and ask for guidance, show me something, I want to get going, but you've got to do the work. You've got to put yourself out there and try to find an answer. And the only way you're going to do that is really if you spend quality time with yourself. See what it is that you want to do. You know, fine tune. Okay, what kind of dreams have you been having? You know, even if it's something far fetched, like, you know, there's lots of people that dream way too big to start off with. Well, sometimes you have to start a little smaller. Okay, take that. What is it that you're capable of doing right now to move in that direction? But say you dream of being the head of a big corporation. Okay, but you have no office skills of any kind, business skills of any kind. So, okay, fine tune that. What can you do at this point? Well, you can always get a job in an office filing. You know, to start with, while you go to school, taking some classes, whether it's accounting, whether it's business, you know, start there. Make yourself a little money. Start becoming independent. Start fine tuning, because along the way you might stumble across something that's going to take you in a little bit of a different direction, but it's going to help you to fine tune. Maybe it's not a corporation that you need, but maybe there's you know, self-employed opportunity, business opportunity in community to open up a business. Maybe it'll take you farther, but, you know, keep your eyes open, keep your options open. So, okay, I'm going to end with that, trying to keep it at a certain time. And, okay, 9, 7, 16, again, sevens. You know, this must just all be about finding solutions to problems, not depending on other people to push you, not depending on other people to give you the answers. The answers are within yourself. So I hope that helps. Okay, I'm going to send you off. I give thanks to all of you that are being here, that are being present, that are wanting to find some guidance, something helpful. Maybe this is doing it for you. I pray that you all go forward in your day feeling more connected to all that is around you, because the people around you often, not always, but often there's people that do put out good word, and maybe you're not paying attention, but try to start being more aware, more present on what people are talking about around you, because often you'll find guidance there. You know, something that might keep being repeated to you, you know, especially if you're looking for what direction you're wanting to go in, and all of a sudden within a few days the same help wanted kind of sign keeps popping out at you, or yeah, someone points it out to you at one point, or you're driving around and someone's yells something, gets your attention, you look over, it's that sign. Maybe there's something in that
business. Maybe go in there, check it out. Maybe there's a job that you want to do there. I'm just saying, pay attention to what's going on around you. Are you seeing the same thing? Your community will point it out to you. Spirit will point it out to you. Okay, let the light of spirit shine in you, through you, and all around you. Blessed be, so be it. Thank you.